All right, good evening, everybody. Good evening, and welcome to lesson number or session number 7 of the Product Creation Challenge. And this is going to be the last we're going to be doing in a little while. What we want to do very quickly in this hands-on session, I mean, obviously we've covered the basic theory in in the first 2 sessions. What I want to do today is we talked about how to create copy. And I want to kind of get into getting that copy into a form where you can use it, first of all, and then second of all, I do want to talk briefly about JVs and starting that process. So hopefully you have started creating your product and you have started getting things in order so you can get it ready to sell. Now is the time then to move on to write copy. And even while you're finishing your product, you should be writing your copy. Mainly, we talked about this before, that you might, in the midst of writing a copy, you're going to start thinking of things that need to go into the product, because you will start to think through, well, what is going to make this sell? All right, what's going to be attractive? We talked about a format that you can use, the 12-step sales letter format. We talked about that in the last session, and so when you do that ahead of time, you're really going to start the sales process, and it's really important to do that even before you finish the product. Now, the other thing that it's important for you to get started before you finish the product is going to be your JV relationships. And I want to just briefly kind of walk you through a couple of things that I think that you probably do want to do. And then, as I said, this is going to be fairly short. So let's, I'm going to go out to my screen here. Okay, so considering that, let's say that you have already gotten your sales page started. One thing that you really do need to start thinking about is where you're going to start putting JV announcements. And even in this process, right, even though you don't know anyone yet, even though, let's say, you don't really, you don't really feel like you have lots of people that are going to want to promote, you need to go through the exercise anyway, right? And one of the things that I'm going to suggest you do is, I'd like for you, when you start doing this, is to take a look at muncheye.com, muncheye.com. And what you're going to want to do there is you're going to want to set up a free account there. Right. And when you set up a free account there, what you're going to be able to do is you're going to be able to announce your product to people that want to promote your product. Now, of course, yes, you can go here and you can find out about what you're going to want to do in terms of, in terms of promoting products. But in this case, what I'd like for you to do is to start looking here so that you can promote your product. Okay, and so once you set up an account, all you're going to do is you are going to announce your product. You're going to announce the price. You're going to announce, how much it costs, and you're creating a JV page, right? A JV page, and maybe we can spend a session on creating a JV page. But this is where probably one of the main places you're going to make your announcement. Now, of course, there are JV pages on Facebook, and one of the things I would suggest you do, and these, you will get some attention. There are people who will come and promote your product just because you're there. It's on Facebook. I'm in a number of these groups. What you're going to do here is you're just going to type in JV. Right, and start looking for some of the groups where you can actually post your product, right? And you'll see them here. Here's one called Premium JV Launches, JV Mastermind, JV Launch Fellowship, And this is just for you to announce your product. And again, before you start before you start getting big affiliates, what you're doing is you're creating a list of places for you to make your announcement. You're creating a list of places for you to, even if you are going to go about the process and have it outsourced, right? You need to go through the process initially one time, even the first product that you do it, so that once you actually put your list together of places that your product has to be, then what you do is you go and outsource it the next time, right? And so in some places, what you're going to need is a JV graphic, right? A JV graphic. You'll see one of these right here. Okay, so here's a JV graphic. And you know, I'm not saying that you have to, you have to create a prize. You don't have to do that in order to start, unless you just want to. I mean, for the first product, even if you don't think you're going to have a lot of sales, I wouldn't create a contest until you think you're going to have enough sales to actually make to pay it out. But you will see the JV announcements. Right? And you're going to see it pretty much probably easily enough for you to either create your own, or for you to be able to outsource it on Fiverr, or for you to be able to outsource this to a graphics person. Okay, and once you start doing that, what's going to happen in Facebook is you're going to start seeing all these JV launches come up, and you just join them, right? What's also going to happen is you're going to start to see some of these announcements come up in your dashboard. And what that's going to do is you're going to start getting some ideas on how to get the word out about your product. Now, when you see JV announcements like this, well, yeah, this is certainly something that you can do. But once again, when you first get started, you want to go through this place of just making a list of places where you want to make your announcement. Okay, so the next thing you're going to do is you're then going to look at JV Notify Pro. JV Notify Pro is probably a little smaller than Munch Eye. Probably not as many people look at it, but there are a fair number of people who look at it. And a lot of these launches here actually happen on ClickBank, right? And you'll see some of these launches. They won't be JV Zoo. They won't all be Warrior Plus. A lot of these are going to be ClickBank announcements. And once again, I mean, if you're trying to get a sense for, well, what should my announcement look like, you want to just go here and then just look at some of the announcements here. You also really want to look at this so that you can start putting your own JV page together, right? And as I said, when you get started, you just want to kind of mimic what everyone else is doing here. Okay, are there any questions? Any questions on making the JV announcement? And you should be doing this again while you're while you're creating the product. So before your product is done, you want to put your announcement out there, and you want to set a date, right? And you want to start recruiting affiliates. Now, a couple of other things that you are going to need in order to do this, you're going to need an autoresponder so that you can keep the JVs who do want to apply. You want to keep them. You want to keep them in the loop. You want to give them the opportunity to opt into your list, and of course, you're going to want to do a demo for them. Okay, but if you do nothing else, but create your product announcement graphically and start placing it in places on Facebook, put your product in Munch Eye, and put your product in JV Notify Pro, that will be enough for you to create a document for you to be able to give to an outsourcer for every product that you have. So remember, what we're trying to do is we're trying to create a process that's going to be repeatable and eventually scalable, right? When you get really busy and you need to really be in production mode, you need to be able to give this process to somebody, right? And you should not be doing this the more that you generate sales. Are there tutorials for using the Warrior form? You don't find it user friendly? I would I'm sure that there are some tutorials available. Um, Tell me what you do and do not understand, Mar. Let's kind of talk through that. Now, if I were going to announce that I was going to create a product form, and one of the ways that you do that in the Warrior form, of course, is that you put that into what's called your signature file. But there is a learning curve to getting into the Warrior form. I'll kind of run through a little bit of that tonight, kind of what you want to do. Okay, so here's the Warrior form. And once you actually have an account, what you're basically trying to do is to just get in and get to know people and let people get to know you. And the way that you do that, of course, is you create. Now, in some cases, you can just answer the posts of other people, or you can create and start your own thread. What I will say about the Warrior form is this, that if you're going to make this part of your marketing strategy, it's got to be one of those things like Facebook that you just decide you're going to do a little bit every day, right? You're gonna figure out kind of how to do it. Now, what you want to do is you want to get in here and you want to answer, right, posts, and you want to try to be helpful to people. Right. So if you see something you think you know the answer to, or even if you think something is interesting, you want to get in and you want to then start to start talking to people about about whatever it is the subject is, right? And so I'm going to show you this. I'm going to try to find somebody with a signature, right? So okay, so you see down here, I'm gonna size that up for you. Okay, so how many of you all can see this person's signature? Right? How many of you all can see that person's signature? Okay, signature, please put the number 1 in the question box. I want you to see this. If you can see this person's signature, I want you to put a 1 in the question box. And the reason I want you to understand this is, okay, great. Because this is, and I think you'll understand, in order to benefit from the Warrior Forum, you sort of have to be in here routinely, right? You get to know people and people get to know you, and then they see your signature, right? The more that they see your signature and they associate it with something that's helpful, people will click this link and they'll either opt into it. Now, for those of you who are trying to figure out, okay, well, how am I going to get traffic to the stuff I'm doing? Well, this is one way that you can do that, right? The Warrior Forum has lots of people who do internet marketing, who are interested in making money online. And the more they see your signature like this, they will click on it. And if you've got a launch coming up, let's say on January 22nd, you put your launch announcement in there. And that you continue to, on a daily basis, make yourself available to people to be helpful. Right? Here's this person's signature. Email marketing, how to turn strangers into buyers and buyers into raving fans. Right? Let's try to find another one. Okay. But you all get the point. So what the Warrior Forum allows you to do is it allows you to participate. It allows you to put a signature in there. I'm going to size this down. And that signature is kind of like making an announcement that you have a launch coming. right? That's telling people that you have a launch coming. Now, naturally, you can actually put your product in the Warrior Special Offers form. Wow, one way that you can make your announcement. Okay, where do you set up your signature? Well, you go here to uh, let's see, it says edit signature. And I'll size that up for you. Okay, and then you write that signature in here. Right now, the Warrior form has what's called BB code, which is similar to HTML code, but a little different. But for the most part, if you know a little bit of HTML, you can pretty much do just about anything in the Warrior form, and you've got a little WYSIWYG editor that you can use right here. So you can make your announcement right here in the Warrior form, and then you've got a preview of what your signature is going to look like right there. Right, let me go back. I saw a few more questions I want to kind of attack here. Okay, so Erica says, okay, now this is I'm gonna take this question. This is a product creation challenge, but let me pull this up. I'm gonna let everybody kind of see it here. Okay, so here's Erica's question. Are we creating a product from scratch? Or is this from PLR? And can we really sell it with no prior name or experience? That's a great question. And one of the things that I would say about that, and the Warrior Forum is actually a great place to be able to do that. I would say a couple of things. If you have a name, well, that certainly helps. But there are people who have sold, let's say, their information product in the Warrior Special Offer area. And I'm going to kind of show you this here in a minute. If you don't have a name per se, Erica, if you're creating from scratch, what you need to have if you're going to sell a make money online product is a result. And I'm going to say that you're probably going to want to have that regardless of what niche you're in. If you have a result, then you're going to lead not with your name, you're going to lead with the result, right? So whether you use PLR, whether you use a creative product from scratch, even if I suggest that even if you have a PLR product that you are going to sell, what you do is you tack the the result onto the PLR. So in other words, you're going to teach the PLR, and you want to use a PLR to teach the basics, right? So and so if you look at the products in the Warrior Special Offer form, most of these are based on results, right? So you want to lead with your result, and then you don't have to have as much of a name, right? You can come here and sell a product and you have no name, right? The question will be whether or not you have a result, and at the very minimum, if you can, to most of people from people who know other people. In other words, you want to have some people that are known to give you a testimonial if you don't have a name, right? If people know you, then you don't have to have as much of that. But if you want to come and you want to start it from scratch, you need to have a result, and you need to have some people who are willing to say, hey, this is a great product, and you kind of want those people to be people that are known if you can. Okay, that's how I would answer that, Erica. That's a great question. Okay, and there's one more question here, and then I'm going to get to yours, Mars. Okay. I'm going to put this question in here. Okay, so do we need to create the JV page link and know what we're for announcing? I would say you do want to know that. Helen, you're probably going to be using, we're probably talking about 50% on up. Now, if you're going to do 100% on the front end, you want to announce that. But for the most part, people are going to expect to be looking at 50% or 100%. And I would say that I've seen it both ways. People who are new are now doing 100% on low dollar amount products because they're willing to give that up for the lead, and then they're giving away 50% on the back end. Right? That's what's happening most of the time. Now, what you need to do is you need to go to Munch Eye, you need to go to JV Notify Pro, and go to some of these other sites to see what other products like yours are going to be. Okay, well, if okay, I say, is there a date or certain days of the week that are better to launch more so than others? I've heard that Tuesday is going to be that. I honestly have not seen that to be. I would say that if you want to pick a day, um, Thursdays are good because you have the first day and then the weekend. Right. So if I pick a day that's my favorite, I'd say Thursday. But I mean, people launch every day, Helen, and they are certainly as successful as anybody else. So it really depends on kind of what you want to do. If I like I said, if I have a favorite day, I'd say Thursday. Okay, so I would not really worry about the date as much as just getting your product. Okay, so Mar asked a question. So how do you get a testimonial? I'm confused. I want to write the beginner's guide to IM. How do I make that a results product? Fantastic. Well, when you write the copy, right? When you're going to sell this information product, and we talked about a little bit about this in the last session. I don't know if you saw the last session on copy. When you start writing your sales copy, I'm going to go back to the guide I talked about last time. And I really do suggest the 12-step guide. I'm going to put the link to that. Oh, you missed it. Well, Mar, don't miss it anymore. Don't miss any more days. Oh, okay. Okay, but everything is if you want to catch up on anything that I've done so far in the challenge, you can go to youtube.com/gain mind share. There's a section there for the product creation challenge, and you can see all the episodes that I've done so far. I've done 6. Don't miss any more days. All right, now um, I'm going to put the link to this again in the box because a number of internet marketers today, and you'd be surprised the number of people who say this, they use to some extent this format, right? And I pointed this out in the last session, but it bears repeating. This was done in 2002, right? This article was written in 2002, and David Fry probably wrote this before then. And that's because copy, for the most part, is based on human kind of the human condition, right? It's based on human the way we react to stuff, and so direct response copy is not going to change, right? It's not going to change. If you follow this template to some while you're learning to write copy, if you follow this template, you're going to have a better sales letter. Now, what you want to do is in your headline, you've got to attract people based on something that they want, right? Other reason for me to look at, keep reading your sales letter. And your sales letter is based to some degree on motivating people to their emotions. And so you'll notice that David Fry's first section here is to get attention, right? Get attention. So how do you get people's attention? I want you to look at this. And I don't have time to go through this, but I do suggest that you read this article. I consider it to be probably, let's see, no, I'm sizing up the wrong screen here. Okay. I'm gonna size this up some. Okay, notice how he says the following are 3 headline generating templates that are proven to get attention. Right? One says how to blank. Right? How to blank. Secrets of blank revealed. Right? Don't even think of blank until you blank. Right? And so you really do need to get people's attention. And one of the ways you get people's attention is you promise it that they're going to get from what from what you're selling. How's your life going to change? What is it that you're going to give them? Follow this format, right? As you're learning is what I would suggest you to do, right? And you will then start to figure out how you want to actually write the copy. But this is probably one that you can possibly use while you're still learning. And when you start talking about a result, right? If you don't have a name, right? One of the things that this is based on is present your credentials, right? So what are your credentials? Well, if you don't have a credential, you make up for that in the fact that you have done something and that you have gotten a result, and you're going to teach people how to get the same result, right? So to some degree, if you don't have a name, your credential is going to be that, listen, this IM system, the beginner's guide to IM, is going to show you how to get X. Here's how I did, here's what it did for me, right? And what testimonials do, right? You'll notice down here, it says give social proof, and that's what your testimonials are. Your testimonials are, well, here's how other people benefited, right? Now, they may not have benefited from your system, but let's say that part of your social proof is that people have benefited from these same steps that you're about to teach other people, right? So you've got to be able to say that people have benefited from what you're about to give them, because psychologically, right, it helps them buy. Right? It's not that that you and I are not great. It's not that people don't like you and I. It's that when people come to your sales page, your sales copy is basically supposed to help them to buy. Right? If they make your page, they want to buy something. They want to find something that will help. Sales letter needs to help them. And these elements that are in, right, that David Fry is talking about, they are psychologically kind of proven to help people buy, right? And so one of those things is that you need to have some element of credibility, and the way you get proof and social proof is very important. Now, you can leave it out, right? You can leave those things out and just sell it outright, and a lot of people do that every day, right? Let me ask you a question. What's the difference between a book and an information product? Right? What's the difference between everybody? What's the difference between a book and an information product? For the most part, now books are starting to do this now, but why does a book sell for, I don't know, $7, and then why does an information product sell for $37 with the same information? Because a book does not yet get to promise you a result. For that, now books are starting to get better at doing results, right? Just flat out. Eric, in one sense, no, nothing. There is no real difference, right? But a book is going to be longer, And it doesn't really promise you you're going to get anything. It just kind of tells you you're going to get this information, right? So what you have to do in your information product is you're telling people, if you take this course, you are going to get this result. It will sell faster than if you just tell them you're going to learn this, right? If you tell people you're going to be able to learn this, you'll be in the same category as a book. And we all know how much people value books in our society, right? They don't value them all that much at all. Saying somebody will buy a product that doesn't promise them all these things, but as best you can, right? As best you can, solve a problem, and then that is going to be the thing that will be the result that you're going to get. You're going to get people the result by solving their one problem in your information product. Yeah, so Helen says, I don't have a name or credentials, so will my result come from research? Absolutely. So in other words, here's my guess. I don't know a lot about fibromyalgia, but they're probably about 4 or 5 symptoms that really give people fits with fibromyalgia, right? They're probably some symptoms. And if they're looking for information on fibromyalgia, you can solve their problem for fibromyalgia, but you can probably better solve their problem based on the symptoms they're having, right? So your result is going to be in your credentials is that it could be that you started studying and you started finding experts because there was this pain that and it just caused you to search and search and search to find the right information. That's right, PC. It's exactly right. So it could be about someone else's results that Helen discovers in her research. That's right, exactly. Right. Okay, Mark, good. It's saving the beginner from I am wasting time and aggravation and falling into the typical I am traps that lead to nowhere. It could be. Here's my intuition is you can start there, right? And audiences. Like if you have an audience of people that are going to be new to information marketing and this is kind of where they are, right? If that speaks to them, then that's going to matter. It depends on where your audience is, right? So if you launch that product, let's say in the warrior form, right? You want to be able to tell people they're going to get something that's probably going to be a little more tangible than that. Okay, so Erica asks, in the information marketing world, can you create results based on something that other people did? Can you give an example on how we would use someone else's results in IM? Okay, good. Okay, so one way to do that would be, this is where you would or could get expert testimonials, or sorry, expert interviews on a specific subject. Right. So in other words, let's say that you were trying to find out how to do Facebook ads, right? And you didn't really have any results of your own. So what you want to do is you want to go and interview some of the top, I'd say some of the top teachers on Facebook ads. You want to get them to tell you or get them to kind of talk about what it is that they do. And then you want to include those interviews inside of your product, right? That's one way to leverage other people's results. Another way to leverage other people's results could be that you, again, are really studying their results based on things that you have read. I think that if I were trying to do that, Erica, and I have done this before, let me try to find my look up my product, and it's called the Prospecting and Closing Summit, right? The Prospecting and Closing Summit. I did this back in 2012, and um, I had not cold called a business at all, right? I was a PLR seller in the offline niche, right? And um, I was looking for a way to help other people to be able to prospect more businesses. So what I did was pretty much the same thing that Ron Douglas is doing today. Ron Douglas really is a best-selling author, right? He's getting other people in that best-selling author category and other people who have written books in that area, right? But in this case, when I did the Prospecting and Closing Summit, I really had not cold called any businesses, and I really was not a consultant. So what I did was I brought together, I'd say 20 people, and I interviewed them, right? And I gave away the recordings to the live interview. I think the product cost maybe $9.97 to start. I eventually raised the price to $17. That was probably a mistake, but the product was $9.97, and then I had an upsell to it that was, I think, $17. But I had not called on any businesses. I had not necessarily done a lot of consulting myself, but I used other people's expertise in order to sell to people who wanted to learn about prospecting small businesses. Yeah, and PC says Luther Landro does right. Luther's an ex-policeman, right? And not that that matters, but Luther's an ex-policeman, and he creates products in the offline space. And what he does is, just like PC is saying here, he goes out and he finds these people that are making money consulting other businesses. He gets together with them and he gets them to tell their story. So in other words, he markets their product and then they get to tell their story. And I think he's JVing with them. Right now, I was just thinking about this today because I have a sister who wants to get into internet marketing, but she doesn't want to market a product, but she's an expert on diabetes, right? She's an expert. And so I mean, people invite her to come speak all the time, but she's having a hard time really selling her expertise. And so, I mean, there are a couple ways to go when you have knowledge like this. And I'm going to say sometimes outside of the IM niche, right? You can sell an information how to, right? You can sell a how-to product. What you can also do is sell information to trainers and experts. Okay, so if you sell information to trainers and experts to use in their business, right? What's that called? What's that called? That's called PLR, right? That's what that's called. You can and you can do that in video or audio form. But yeah, PC makes a good point that what Luther Landro did, and he was Marketer of the Year last year, is he's sharing somebody else's method, right? He goes out and finds other people who do this and then sells other people's method. If you feel as if you kind of want to sell an information product to people who are going to be the trainers, right? And you want to put together information that makes it easy for them to go out and be the expert, you can sell PLR. Now, PLR is not going to sell as fast as an information product with a result and a how-to, right? But if you find people who are looking for information so that they can be better trainers, so they can have a better website, you can sell PLR. Okay, that's a great point, though, PC. I appreciate that. So I did this with people who wanted to learn how to close businesses. I mean, so my expertise in the offline space is really more selling information products. I've sold more seminars and information products than I've actually closed customers. Right now, if I were to put a how-to product together for the offline niche, it would be on how to sell information products to small businesses. And I still may do that at some point. Right? I just haven't had time to do that. But I could sell one because that's a result that I've actually gotten. Okay, so I've kind of answered questions. I hope this has been a little helpful for you all. And so I realized that we got off a little bit from the subject, but these are real questions, and I think the fact that we're answering real questions hopefully will help some of you all. Right. Okay, good. Okay, so you're looking to make this for super beginners and how to get started right away in internet marketing. So you want to teach the different kinds of internet IM social. Okay, good. What you've got to do is, and really go back through the other other sessions, Mar, if you haven't done it yet, go back through my other sessions, because you need to, in my opinion, you have to find, don't assume, right? And I did this, right? I did this a lot for a while. Don't assume you know people's pain. Find out what their pain is, right? Because you need to find out what problem people are having. And so you want to go and find out where new internet marketers are going to be. If you already know, if you have a list, you need to survey them. You need to find out what they're saying in their language. And so what are people saying their problem is? So you cannot assume that you know what people's problem is. You have to find out what people's problem is, and that is what you sell to people. Right? So if you know that people are having a problem getting started, then you should be able to speak to exactly how they're having a problem. What does it look like? When people are having problem getting started, what does it do? Does it mean that they spend hours staring at their computer screen? Does it mean that they never actually get a project done? So I would say that you are on the right track, Mark. I think you've got to be really specific about. Okay, good. Okay, so now, okay, we're getting someplace. You're being a tech challenged, right? So see, what we're doing here is we're getting more specific. Okay, you're telling people, okay, you were tech challenged. Yeah, and don't get done because you don't know where to begin. Okay, see, now that's where we're starting, right? That's where we're starting. So when you look at the David Fry's stuff, right? You well, yeah, that's what this product creation challenge is supposed to be for. Mar, is to get you started. So I would say start with one, and if you really I don't know if it's still for sale. I don't know if it's still discounted, but for a while I would suggest a 30-day challenge with you. I don't know if it's still on sale. Right. So if email me, and then I'll give you some suggestions on where to start. So if you email me, I'll give you some suggestions on where to start. But otherwise, I would start with session 1 of this challenge. Okay, so Lyle says, isn't that the info at NCIS? Good, yes. Can you share on why I suggest getting that product? Great. Great. First of all, NCIS is pretty much what Mar is talking about, and it has sales materials in it, right? So it's got a sales letter, it's got the videos done, and it has the product already done. And basically, what you're trying to do in the sales letter, and let me bring up the sales letter for a second here. I think I might even have a sales letter. Now, I bought this product a little while ago, and let me see. Let's see. Where's the sales letter? Uh, Sales letter. Well, okay, reseller files. And I like to get. I'll tell you, and those of you who know me know this. I like to get PLR. I like to get PLR for the sales letters. Right. I like to have sales letters because I can reuse them. And one of the ways in which I write some of my copy is I'll just take a PLR sales letter and I'll just take bits and pieces and adapt them. And this is one of the pieces in NCIS that makes it a valuable package because they've got sales letters in here to sell the thing. And this is really, you'll see David Fry's 12 steps in here, right? You'll see David Fry's 12 steps in here. The only thing that's not going to be in here is going to be the credentials, right? Which is what you're going to add to this. Right? The only thing missing from this sales letter is proof and social proof. Right? That's the only thing missing. Proof and social proof. Okay, so Erica asked, can you sell PLR on the Warrior Forum, Muncheye, and JV Notify Pro? You have to turn it into something unique. Okay, so what you don't want to do is to take it out of the box and sell it as is, right? You never do that. Not with a single piece of PLR. What you have to do is personalize that. So let's talk about how I would do NCIS. And I'm going to turn my screen off here because we're I guess I'm going to kind of talk here. Okay, so let's talk about some ways that I would personalize PLR. One of the first things I would do, and I talked about this earlier today, is I would first narrate, right? I would narrate that content, right, on camera, on screen, and if I were using Genius Trainer Pro, I would have the slides playing right alongside. So I would listen to Paul's video, and then I would just redo that video in my own way, right? So I would use Paul's video as, I don't know, as an example. I would take notes. I would redo the entire course. Right now, I have sitting on my hard drive. I have, and this will, I want to put this in perspective for you. Okay. I have a private label rights product that costs $6,998 right now, right? I paid for it. It's on my hard drive. And so I'm not taking that PLR and I'm not using it I'm not going to put it. And I know one other guy who just, who got kind of, I think, tired of seeing it, tired of it sitting on his hard drive. So he just put it out there as is. I'm not doing that. I'm redoing the entire project, and it's going to take a long time to do, but when it's done, it's going to be worth it, right? NCIS, right? I've redone NCIS in lots of different ways, right? And so what you want to do is you want to take that content and you want to turn that content into something. Number one. Number two, you use that as the basis to solve one problem, right? And so you use the PLR to kind of bring people up to speed on the basics, and then you take it the rest of the way to solve one problem. I would never use a PLR product as is. You use it as the basis to create your own product, right? That is what I would say. And so I use NCIS in a different way, and I use PLR in a different way than I think other people use it, because that way it becomes an asset to me, right? If you use it right out of the box, you're right, Erica, it's going to be just like everybody else's, but that's not necessarily the way you're supposed to use PLR. The way you're supposed to use PLR is you're supposed to redo it, and you're supposed to use, let's say, Paul's video to create your own. And so I would listen to Paul, take my own notes, and I would re-deliver that content. And then it really is yours. I would definitely change the title. Without question, I would change the title. It would, when okay. I just had this conversation with, I'm not going to mention his name because then you'd know where I bought it. But I just had this conversation with a guy who sold me a product. And let me just tell you, let me give you a little insight here. Okay. 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 So a marketer sold me an information product, right? A marketer sold me an information product, and I know this guy. I don't know him personally, but I know him, right? So here's what I told him. Here's what I said right away. I sent him an email back, and I knew his assistant was going to answer, right? And so I said, "Hey, can you give me rights to reuse this content?" And the guy and the guy's assistant wrote back right away, "We don't do that. We don't sell we don't sell rights. We don't sell resale rights. We stopped doing that a long time ago." So now you know me. I'm not taking that for an answer. So I just wrote it right back. I said, "Okay, here's what I plan to do with it." Right? I speak extemporaneously. I like to use the ideas. I like to refer to some of the ideas. I might use it in different products. It's going to be unrecognizable to this person if they allow me to use their rights. So this guy didn't promise anybody else the rights. He didn't even put it in his sales letter, right? But when I wrote him back, I had full intention on getting the rights to that. And so when he wrote me back, what he said, "Okay, you can use it as your idea." It's kind of like, "Okay, you can go away. I know you're not really going to use it, but he doesn't know me. I'm definitely going to use it." So PLR and resale rights, when you really understand what PLR and resale rights is, you have a real asset, right? I just like PLR. That's why I created, because I'm into the whole science of it. So when I ask somebody for resale rights, I ask for resale rights from stuff that people don't offer resale rights on. Right? I do. I just ask by course of habit. And most people say, "No, are you nuts? What are you talking about?" But every so often somebody will say, "Okay, well, if you really want it, then fine." But everything you get in PLR, you should redo it. Don't, in my opinion. Now I know that some people buy for different reasons, right? I know that you've got Aurelius and Edwin and I think Henry Gold and all those guys. They pull out PLR for people who want to take it as is and sell it, right? Which is cool. Even if they sell it to me, even when I get it, that stuff, I know people are going to go out and try to sell that immediately. So I'm not using it the way they're going to use it, right? I really, what's the guy's name? Sajan. I like his stuff. So I get his stuff. I get Sajan stuff for the graphics, right? I get Edwin stuff because of the science, right? I get, I haven't bought anything from Henry Gold, but when I buy stuff, I have my own reasons for buying it, because when I produce something, it's going to not even look like what they gave it to me as. So when you start getting this stuff, you'll have more than enough to create a product, a solid product. You just have to have the vision and the idea. And what you do is you pick the bits and pieces together and put it together in a way that solves a problem. Okay, so Mara is asking, what is NCIS? NCIS is, I'm going to put the link to it. Now that's NCIS, and I think my bonus is to put together all to kind of show you how to use it with all the Genius software. Right. So unfortunately, I don't have a bonus page yet. I should probably do that tonight. But yeah, NCIS, right? Okay, so yeah, so we've talked about product creation tonight. I'm sorry if I've gone off the rails a little bit, but I hope this is helpful for you. So I guess the moral of the story is that use David Fry's. I'm going to put that in here again to start thinking about not only how you're going to write the copy, but when you start writing the copy, you're going to start thinking about how you want to actually create something that people are going to buy. Right. And then also on my YouTube channel is youtube.com/gain mind share. You're going to find um, the other product creation challenge videos and the other sessions. And so you'll then see kind of where my mindset was on some of this stuff. And if you missed, I honestly don't know. Super fast action. Honestly, the place to start would be the 30-day challenge. And I think now that product is $97, but I think and this coupon code GTP welcome may still work. It may not. I think that brings it down like $80. So that the 30-day challenge is really the place that if you don't even have no idea on like the context for internet marketing. I did that this August, right? And did like and that thing kind of will take you from like zero to nothing. The code is GTP welcome. Okay. Okay. Any other questions? I appreciate your questions because um, I think that keeps it interesting. I'd much rather answer your questions than to talk. uh, any other questions? So yeah, so there are lots of ways you can right. Okay, great. Thank you, Jerry. I appreciate that. It's not. I need to get it out of there. Actually. Okay, so Mar is asking, what would be the pain, in my opinion, for a beginner internet marketing? Okay, so here's let's do this. For those of you who are on this call, um, let's help Mar and anybody else who wants to write a product right now on beginners information, beginners internet marketing. So not everybody on this call is a beginner. But what I'd like for you all to do before we close out, and you can either put it here in public or you can put it here in a private window to me, right? If you want to put it in private. What I'd like in here is what's the biggest challenge right now you're facing in your internet marketing business? What is the challenge you're facing that's staring you down, that's kind of preventing you from going forward? Right? So if you could write that, okay, number one, credibility. Okay, good. So credibility is stopping you right now. What else? Everybody, if you can just write in one word or one phrase, what is the single biggest problem you're facing and moving forward? You can either write it in private to me or you can write it in public. What's once your single biggest challenge? Okay, where to get started? Fear of failure. Actually starting. Okay. What else? Okay, the single biggest challenge right now. Tech challenges. Okay, what else? Anybody can write in there. So like let's write in your challenge right now. Time. Okay, time. Okay. Sales copy. Okay. Okay. What else? Sales copy is a common problem. Time is a common problem. What else? What is your single biggest challenge? Just write it right in there. Either write it in private or write it in or write it in public. Right? The single biggest challenge you're having in your internet marketing business. Okay, fear of failure, actually starting. So, okay, so if you go back and these are all, right? Okay, making sure all the pieces fit together and are in the right order. Okay, okay, a Facebook page just for beginners. Okay, starting. Okay, so now this list, what now tell me what this list is, everybody. What is this list? What is this a list of? This list that we just compiled, what is this list? If you want to break it down, what is this list? What do you think this list is that we just talked about? It's points of pain, exactly. And so if these are points of pain, right? If they are points of pain, then what is that? The points of pain are the things that you need to solve, right? What you have heard is that here are things that if people felt like they could find a credible place to get this information, right? There are people would buy it. So the question is, can you help somebody who doesn't know where to start? Can you help somebody who wants to know how all the pieces and parts fit together and are in the right order? Can you help somebody write sales copy? Can you help somebody with time? Can you help somebody with tech challenges? Can you help somebody start? Can you help somebody get over their fear of failure? Can you help somebody who needs credibility? All are problems that you need to solve because they are real problems and they are stated in the language that people have the problem in. This is different than I want to help people with Facebook. What you have here is real problems in the language in which people said them. And so this is what you have to do in order to start thinking about a information product. What is the pain? What is the problem? Because people will pay to make pain go away. Now, people will sometimes pay to accomplish goals, but they will pay to make pain go away, right? How many of you all on this call, and you don't have to tell me how old you are, but you either have kids, right, or have had or have kids, and at the point at which your kid problems are the worst and the craziest, if somebody could pay you to tell you exactly how to solve it, right, you'd pay them. You might not use the information, but you'd want to hear from it. If you ever had a problem with your car, right, if somebody could tell you this pain and how to make it go away, right, you'd pay them. And so that's the idea. That's the way you have to think about this, is problems that people are desperate to want to try to figure out at the moment to solve it, right? You solve that problem. Yeah, see, you have these, you're looking at a list of things that people are having problems with. And so these are real problems. These are real problems. And so that's the problem. So how do you solve credibility? So if you don't know how to solve credibility, you go out and you get people who are experts in helping people get credibility. You could interview them. You could research on how to get credibility. And so you start to create the product. But listen, when you do your research, one of the reasons that you go through this 12-step thing with David Fry is because that's how you're going to create. That's why I say start writing the copy first, because then you'll start to see how you want to create the product. When you start to figure out how you're going to talk to people and what you're going to promise them, then you'll start to figure out, okay, you know what, I think I need to go and get this to put in my product. Most people do it backwards, and they go create a product, create a fantastic guide on this thing, and it doesn't solve anything. What you have to do is figure out what you need to solve and then go create the product. Right? Right? Just figure out what you need to solve and then create the product. All right, so any other questions? Sam's Broncos won. Great point by Jerry here. Okay, you can certainly partner with people who have the stuff you don't. Okay, great thing. I think I talked about the fact that in March, right? In March, the JV Zoo conference is coming up. It's going to be in Orlando. I think you've got exactly 60 days, right? I think it's $250, and then you got to get down to Orlando. You're going to meet people there who want to partner, right? Who are looking for people who want to partner. And you don't have to find all the big gurus. All you've got to do is to find somebody else who wants to partner and get together and do something. And you can actually talk to people right there. So I'm going to say, I mean, I went to a Warrior event back in, I think, 11 and 12 and made a big difference. Right. And it wasn't that I even know anybody. And again, I like to say this. I'm not going to be the person you're gonna see at an event and you feel like you've known me all your life. I'm gonna be a little quiet guy, kind of off to myself. You might even bordering on rude because I'm just not gonna be that kind of public person. So I'm not. So don't think that I went to this convention and I'm gonna be this bubbly guy. Everybody's gonna be getting along, and that wasn't what it was. I found two people, one guy who basically just almost accosted me and asked me, what do you do, man? What do you do? We got to talking and we JV'd and partnered that year. Another guy, right? We got to talk. He said, you know what? I could really get together with somebody like this. We JV'd and we got together and we did the same thing. Where did I get my Shoji screen? On Craigslist. There's some dude that was selling it. You know, some single guy. Guess maybe, you know, guess maybe he just got tired of having it. I don't know. You know, so right, yeah. And what one of the things that we're going to be doing here in the product creation chat, and I would suggest this to you, right? Is to you know, do a product snowball, and that's what Kyle did, and Jerry says Caleb Spilchin did, and they sold them cheap, and they built a buyer's list, right? And they, for all intents and purposes, they just kind of built a snowball of products. Right, they probably didn't start out with a lot of buyers. They just put something on the Warrior special offer form, found a subject. I mean, that is a model, right? I've still got products on the Warrior form that still sell. That's where people want to go to make money online. So if you can solve a make money online product on the Warrior form, they have them on Amazon. I'm sure they do. I think it's called Shoji. Shoji. But you probably have more success putting Shoji on Craigslist, and you'll find some dude selling it cheap. Yep, that's a great point, Jerry. They built a product snowball, and they basically you start out creating products. You don't expect to get a lot of buyers at your first product, but after your third or fourth product, you basically continue to get more and more people onto your buyers list. And eventually you get affiliates to promote you. Okay, great point. Okay, everybody. Well, that's about it for tonight. We've gone about 30 minutes longer than 45 minutes, which I typically try to promise, but that's okay. So hopefully this has been helpful for you. And with that, tomorrow night, those of you who are part of the Genius and Fusion community, Dwayne will be doing the call. Dwayne, and I, and then tomorrow night starts the summit. So after tomorrow night, I'm going to be AWOL for a couple of days. And those of you who did buy the summit, let's say through my link, I think what we're going to do is I'm going to have a wrap up. So we're going to do a wrap up. Those of you who did buy the summit and you bought it through my link, we're probably going to get together. I'll send out an email to all of you all. We'll do a wrap up, right? I'll share my notes with you, and we can just kind of talk about what we've learned. We'll get on GoToWebinar, and we'll just kind of chat. You're welcome, Helen. Okay, everybody. Well, thank you very much. Have a great night and a pleasant tomorrow. Oh yeah. And also, I think that for those of you who are looking, the author summit is going up tonight. I think it's going to double in price. It's going up to, I think it's going up to $47. So if you're going to get it, you probably want to get it tonight. Okay, it goes up to $47. So GameAgeMindshare.net/author webinar. Those of you who are picking up my bonus for NCIS, it's GameMindshare.net/NCIS. And let's see, what else can I put in there? The summit is it's not part of my NCIS link. The summit is that's Ron Douglas and Alice Seba, and it's mostly about book writing, but it's going to be about more than that, I think. They've got a couple of cats that I'm actually going to hear. I'm not so much going to look to focus on the book writing part. I want to hear Armin Morin, right? I want to hear what he has to say. I want to hear what Ty Cohen has to say about Kindle. And then there's one, I can't remember, there's one other person I really want to hear, but those are really the main two people I want to. And Joel Comm, I've heard him before, but I kind of like to get his perspective on stuff too. I like to see what he's doing. Okay, so Erica's asking, what's the difference between our product and Smart Member? I think Smart Member's a little more expensive, but okay. So Genius Trainer Pro is really it's a training platform. You content by and it locks that content. It's not a membership site. It's a training platform that has locked away content. So a membership site is more so that people can have a place to, so you'll have interaction with your autoresponder. You'll have customizable stuff inside of the membership. Genius Trainer Pro is more, I'd say, closer to something like Udemy, and it's designed to give you a platform to teach, right? So we've taken out all of the complications of that, and that's why some of it's a little more standard and non-customizable, because the idea is that you're not some people don't want to customize. And the hardest thing in the world, and I can attest to this, the hardest thing in the world to put together is a membership site and to maintain it, right? Because the more you do with a membership site, the more you have to do. And so I ran a membership for 400 people, right? I ran a membership for 400 people. And I loved every minute of it, but it took up every minute of it. Right? It took up every minute of my time when I ran that membership. And the reason is because um, it takes a lot of work to keep up with the technical stuff for a membership site. It takes a lot of work, and the more people get involved, the more you have to do. When you start making little changes, the more people expect you to make little changes, and that's not a bad thing. I'm just saying a membership, nobody talks about the time that goes into maintaining a membership. Right? Yes, you get recurring income, but the technical stuff is the thing. Right? Okay, yeah, so someone's asking about the author summit. So the author summit is gainmindshare.net/author webinar. And yeah, there are enough of the folks of you. I'm just going to get your individual email addresses, and then I'm just going to send you an email. Okay, so that's a great question. So Mars asking, what pain is NCIS solving? The pain that NCIS is solving, right? In other words, how did they sell it? They sold this based on the fact that most people don't want to go through the process of thinking through the creation of a product, right? And so they've done a lot of the work for you. And so they're basically saying your problem is that you don't want to have to create an 87 video course from scratch, right? So they're going to give you all of the stuff you need. So whether you want to create your own videos, whether you want to create a new information product, they're giving you the raw materials. And so what they're saying is that it would take, and they're right? It would. The fact that you can redo theirs is a big deal. That's a PLR is. It allows you, it's leverage because you can take this stuff and recreate it rather than having to do all the research. Remember, we're talking about tonight, you'd have to do the research, you'd have to build up and find all this stuff. Well, they kind of gathered all this stuff, they put it all in one place, and then all the buyer has to do, right? What their sales pitch is, you the buyer, all you've got to do is change the stuff into something to make it sellable. Right? So the pain is that a person doesn't have to do the work of creating their own product. But when you sell a product, you decide what problem you're going to solve, and you use the content in NCIS to help you, right? You decide what problem you're solving. Okay, that's a great question. So, okay, so an answer, okay, so how do you claim the bonus? Like the get together and the thing that I'm going to be doing, I'm just going to get all the people who I see that bought it. It's not a lot of them. I'm just going to gather them together. I'm going to send out an email. I'm going to put you on a GoToWebinar, and then we will get together after the summit. And then we'll just have a, we'll kind of take, everybody will have their headset on, and then we'll just have a discussion, like an open discussion. Because the group is going to be small enough for us to have an open discussion. All right. Okay, everybody. Well, thank you very much for being here. Have a great night and a pleasant tomorrow. Take care.